we're going to Mr. Matt Harbor's shop this evening because we have Mr. Mark Wallace, that Captain Eddie and I twisted his arm into doing a demo for us this evening. So Mark is going to be doing a really neat presentation and a little bit of turning here on how he embellishes something. So typical house cleaning. I will be muting everybody. If you have questions, please put them in the chat and or save them for the end of the demonstration, unless Matt or Mark are going to sequester um, questions from the gallery here. Otherwise, we will hold them or put them in the chat and we'll go from there. So with that, I'm going to mute now, Matt.
Yeah,
And
we're
unmuted,
so you can try.
And I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you folks see this without?
Yes. Hold a little bit higher to your chin. There you go.
All right. So this is what I did, and this is what Captain Eddie and Dane wanted me to show. What I've used is I turned 48 little circles around the perimeter of my platter. And what we're going to do tonight is we're going to create a, a platter. Then we're going to use the one-way drill wizard, which allows you to put the drill in your banjo, and then with this lever, I can then advance the drill into my piece of work. And what I'm going to be using is over there. I'm going to be using a circle cutter, typically like the circle cutters you use on a drill press. I'll put it in here, and that's what made these circles.
Very cool.
Because I did 48 of them, it looks like I've created a bunch of ellipses, ovals, and it's just the fact that each of the circles are are connecting or overlapping each other, creating this, optical illusion of the ellipse, the oval. I'm not sure. So with that, let's get started. Switch to vMix. All right, I'm going to try doing this with my power cap, and you folks need to tell me if you get too much interference or noise. Then I'll change to a regular visor. So how is my voice coming out? Is it distorted?
It's good. You sound great. Sound great.
Okay. So I'm going to start out with, well, yeah, just pull it out that way. I'm going to be using,
Matt, you going to manage the cameras?
I am. That's what
okay.
This is. Yeah,
right
he's going to take care of that, and I'm going to just yak on. So I like using the Lyle Jameson parabolic 5/8 inch bowl gouge that was manufactured by Doug Thompson. And what this really is just a knockoff of David Ellsworth's bowl gouge, because Lyle learned from David. You want to show it closer from the overhead camera? Sure. On the right over there. So it'll be over here?
By the headstock, yeah. There you go. Yeah, so that's a parabolic flute.
Mine, after I grind it, using my Wolverine, I then the back.
Right there.
Okay.
I zoom in.
So now, so I grind off the back of this, giving me a short 1/8 inch bevel, which is great for going on the inside of bowls or the platters. With this one tool, and I pretty much am going to be to make this platter. What I've done thus far is I took a Forstner bit and drilled a hole in the center of this blank that I mounted on my stronghold, my one-way stronghold chuck with what I'm going to, so this is the top, and this is going to be the bottom of, is I'm going to be squaring and then truing it up on the sides, and then I will be putting in a recess so that I can flip it over and mount it on my chuck. I personally use recesses more than tenons lately on my planters because I like to decorate the inside. And the people that I give these to, they don't, they're not wood turners, so they don't care the fact that the mounting point is still there. If I was going to give this to a wood turner, I'd probably then, take it and put it in my coal jaws and, take away the tenon or the recess. But wood turners, they don't seem to mind. And but the fact that I have decorated the inside, which I'll show you how I do, it looks intentional that that's what I wanted to do. So what I want to do
Sounds great.
now is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up the face, and I'm going to be tool on my hip, pushing down, using the wing of the tool. And I'll just do that to get it so that it's true. Then I'll come over to the front of it, which would be the back of this, and true it up so that I figure out where the top of my rim is going to be for when I turn it over.
They're going to ask Mark, what size is the blank?
Okay, this blank is 13 inches wide. It's soft maple and it's 6/4 wood, because that way I don't have, because I'm making a decorative platter, I choose to use 6/4 as opposed to 8/4, because I don't need that bowl to be very deep. It just needs to, show some white wood in there. And 6/4 is cheaper than 8/4. So that's what I choose to use a lot of the time. So now I need to turn this on. And you see we do have some wiggle and vibration. So now I need to screw it up. Well, that's the edge. And I'm going, I'm holding it down low so that I can draw it across, make sort of like a 45-degree angle so that I can get a nice clear cut. Throw all these shavings in Matt's lap.
Yeah.
And one of the things you'll turn left and right-handed. The hand that is on the handle is the one that's controlling the tool, and the hand that's on the tool, on the tool, that's just anchoring it to my side, my front and my sides screwed up. Now I'm going to come do a push cut into like the first half an inch or so, so that I can establish where the rim of my platter is going to be. Okay. So now I've gone all the way around, got a clean cut. So now I know where my platter is going to be. Now I want to go out and create. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use that setup for 2.5 inches, which is the size of my chuck. And I'm going to put in, just touch the left side to the wood, trying to match up the circle, the right side, and holding it away from it. Because once I let it touch, it's going to flip over and it makes a lot of racket. My finger in the part of the caliper, because I don't want a broken finger. So here we go to try to measure the recess where I want to cut. Okay, I touched it and it flipped over. Very good. Cutting 10-inch Badan. They're nice and sturdy. I can go, because I'm using one-way stronghold chucks, I don't have to deal with the dovetail on a lot of the other jaws. Mine are all got the serrated edges or straight. So I can just go in straight and clean it up. So here we go. Need to go, 8 to 10 inch, no more than a quarter. And this is, this is too high. The cutting tool is because it's much wider and I can I can get more wood and move it across so I get the same depth. I probably could have been good with that, but I want to tonight. Now what we're going to do now I'm going to establish where the foot is, and looks like I'll make it about right there. Because I don't like to do a lot of sanding. I found that it's easier to dish it out and sand that curve as opposed to when you make it a square edge. Yes, it looks nice and distinct. It's a stand up on each side of it. So I'm just going to sort of bring in here. Now this is waste wood here, so I'm just going to get rid of it. You know, I have a collar that tightens up so that your neck, but it doesn't work real well when you neglect to tighten it up and put it on. Now I have curlies down my back. So what I want to do now, I'm going to be this is the one I'll actually be decorating with. So I've already created
I'm in the top camera now, if you want to show it from there.
the top camera, this one?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so what I've done, is I've created an OG.
There you go. Towards you. There we go.
So you can see that, it comes down and then you're doing a bead and then you transition into a cove. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this and we're going to divide it into thirds. Visuals, I draw a line here. This will be the top of the bead, and then here, this will be, the bottom of the cove. Then to figure out, okay, so I also want to figure out how far up I want to take all this waste wood away. What size do I want to make my rim? I think I want to make my rim about there.
He's about ½ inch in from the top.
Yeah, from here.
Thanks, Matt.
But it's going to be like a quarter of an inch. This is the fun part.
It's all fun.
I'm going to take the wood from this first line up to this line, and I'm just going to waste it away, get rid of it. Being that I'm going to turn this left-handed so that I'm out of the line of fire. So if it thing comes off the blade, it's going to go that way and it's not going to whack into me. And also, by standing over here, I can shoot the curlies, the shavings that way, and they don't end up all over me. So if I found this out that when I'm doing, wet wood bowls, if I stand over this way, I don't get my smock and my clothes all soaking wet. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to take rid of this, rid of that. And what I'm not looking here at the point of my tool, the results of my cut. Start out with my weight on my right foot, and then I transition over to my left foot so that the tool is always, tucked into my side so that it's not really moving. My body is the one that's controlling the movement of the tool. Now, what I want, remember we were doing thirds. So this is going to be the top of my bead. This is going to be the bottom of my cove. So now I'm going to start here, scooping out a little bit of the cove.
I
So,
wish you guys could see this much dancing, so.
yep, you have to do the woodturner's dance. Now what I want to do is I want to start, probably move the tool brush closer. What I want to start doing now is making a nice, gracious, curving flow. Now I'm using the long edge of this fingernail grind right in cutting. Carved out. You can see I don't really, because this was nice and sharp. I do have ridges, but I really don't have any tear out. I'm going to use my fingers because they're the best ridges and valleys that I need to get rid of. The first thing I want to do is because I want, when we set this on the table, to, just bevel it in a little bit so that the edge of you can see I've got a dark spot right here, a ridge I need to get rid of. Well, that didn't, I'm going to keep the handle real low down to my leg and come up here and try to do a shear slice. And you see, if you look at the shadings that are coming up, they look different than they did before. They're nice and whispery.
Making angel hair.
Yep, like angel hair.
Real nice cuts you're doing there, Mark.
So now I can do this. This is one of those things that you can break rules and you can go both ways. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get rid of any dark lines and ridges or valleys. I have to get rid of. See if I can do that. Okay, there's
As
more
only
right
seen
here.
on Worldwide.
Pardon me, what?
I said, as only seen on Worldwide, you going back and forth like that, getting angel cuts. That's great.
Yeah, I'm trying, and speed is your friend on these. Now that we've got it round and balanced, the faster you're turning, the easier your cuts are to control. And the lighter, the less effort you have to put into it. This right here. I can see it. See if I can get rid of that. You still got one ridge. I got a ridge right there. Your best measuring tool to figure out what you have to do. I've got I got a ridge right here that I need to get rid of because this is supposed to be sloping out. And it's right there. Let's see if I can get this. And actually, right here is what I have to do now. And I'm not putting very much pressure on it, so that it's cutting the high spots. Yeah, a little bit more, but you get the idea. You just want to refine your shape until you're pleased with it. Oh, nice. So this isn't going to take much to sand it out. Now what I want to do is I want to show you, where's my tool? Which one are you looking for? Your other tool, your scraper here. Pardon me? Your scraper here. No, I don't want that. I want what's over here in the toolbox. It's off camera. So what I like to do is I like to embellish the recess so it when I leave it, when people flip it over, oh hey, look at this. So what I'm going to use is my small Orby texturing tool. You want to put it at about 500 RPM. you want to present it so that it's on, on center, and I'm just a little bit below. I think like this.
The spiraling wheels he's using, it's not the texturing wheel.
That's true. This is a spiraling wheel.
Yep.
And I've taken off the spiraling mechanism, so I'm doing this freehand. Want, but each time it comes out just a little bit different.
Hey, Mark, how fast are you going to go?
I'm only going to.
Can you say again?
500.
500 RPMs. Right now it's
500.
at 480. We're going to try to create a little spiral here. All right. So now I want to put a line to differentiate. Oh, I want to put one on the present the tool vertically so that I don't want to create a spiral. I want to just create cross hatches. Now I want to come back and put a line on the other side of that. Take this little hog's hair paintbrush that's been cut off and use it to burnish and clean up the little whiskers and the feathers that were created in here. So Matt, can you zoom in and show them?
I don't know if we can see it or not, but that's nice. Let me tilt this down a little bit. And move it this way a little bit.
That's wicked.
Oh yeah, they should be able to see that.
Yep, very nice.
So then I will take my wood burner and around the edge, I'll put my name, the year that it is, and this is soft maple. So we're finished with this portion. Now what we want to do is we want to flip it over. It seems to be running fairly true. Now what I want to do is what I have to do now is because when I am using the drill and advancing it into the wood, it needs to be cutting equal depth. To do that, the face of this platter needs to be perpendicular to the axis. So it needs to be flat. So what I'm going to be doing is a pull cut to clean that off.
Just like you did on the other side.
Just like I did on the other side. So here we go. I'm positioning myself So we're gonna start out on rock back to my left foot. You can hear the chatter out towards the edge where it's still not, not true. All right. Not 100%, but see how square I am. And I got a little dip right here. So I'm gonna have to take some off here and leave there. So we'll see what I can do. Well, that looks really good. I don't see any light there.
Let's roll with it.
Exactly. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna sand it.
Power center.
No,
Okay.
I used to fly RC airplanes, so I had these little sanding blocks sitting in a toolbox that haven't been used for years. Works great for here. You don't have this fancy little sanding jig. You can use a 2x4.
Yes. It's just metal, right?
Yeah, this is just, and then this one's just a T handle.
But they're absolutely flat, right?
They're absolutely flat, which is what you want. .80 grit.
It's in my shop.
And I sand about 500. So you just take it like this, take it up and forth. It takes a lot of rocket. Now, oh, yeah, it is loose, coming off.
Yeah. That's right.
That was why it's making all noise. So you get the idea. You want to sand it so that it's flat. This, and then I turn around and I'm impatient, and this works. That works really well. But you can see that we've got it flat. You just keep that up, and the blue one, wherever the blue one is, I sanded that to 180 grit, and then I turned around and sanded this to 180. I could have done more, but I didn't. And I put on some sanding sealer, well, a sealer, I sprayed it on so that when this blue uh, dye is put in, it's not going to soak into the grain. So that when I make my grooves at the edges, I want a clear, crisp edge, not one of those when you get bleed in from your dye. Any questions so far?
Yeah,
Well, I can't see the chart.
I'm watching over here.
Okay. So again, this one I did 48. Here's another example.
I'm gonna go to the top camera here. Okay, so here.
Another example is, let's get this out of here. I made these holes smaller, but I only used 24 increments as opposed to the 48 on the red plate. What we're going to do on the blue one today is we're going to use 24 indexes as opposed to 48. Because once you see this 3 or 4 times, whether you see 24 of them or 48, it's going to be the same thing.
Yeah, I like the 24 better anyway, Steve. It's an ongoing discussion about the tool rest. They noticed it wasn't the Tarmac one.
Yeah, because
So show that how little the material you have to hold it with.
this is like a 16th of an inch.
Yeah, it's tiny.
Now, what I want to do is I want to replicate the
You want the red
the
one?
pattern. So what I want to do is I want to put a groove, about 1/4, 3/8 of an inch in. Then I want to put in my circles. Then I want to put in another groove, and then I want to scoop out the bowl. So, so in order to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm using a drill, just a
It's
a center cutter.
thing.
And
We're on this camera here, the right inside is what you're seeing.
okay, when it came originally, it was a blunt cut like this. So that's what did the red one. So then I turned around and sharpened the other side to, like 50 degrees. And I made it, a point. So hopefully that's going to, and that's what I did on the other piece. I used this point. And this is about, it's about 1.25 inches. So that's going to give me a 2.5 inch.
Okay.
Now, not in the drill, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my place grips, clamp onto it. Move my tool rest back up. So, normal
Mark,
skew, normal,
hey Mark, before you get started,
yes.
where did you purchase the center cutter from?
This is a general products, and I got it from Amazon. You can
Yeah,
get it from Ace Hardware. You can get it from
Harbor Freight,
Lowe's,
you can get
Home
it
Depot.
anywhere.
So, yeah, well, maybe not. I'll get this closer.
You don't want to give the wood any power, right?
Pardon me?
You don't want to give the wood any leverage, right?
No. Going to keep the tool on the tool rest. I know what I did different. I had this farther extended because I'm running, this is running into here. You have an Allen. Now I can just do is figure out which one it is.
But at least I know where the Allen wrenches were.
Nope, that's not that one. Must be this one. Or is it this one? Is this metric or is this imperial?
Don't know. That's probably, I don't know. You want to try another one? I've got two others. At least one of them.
Because I'm sure this is foreign made.
Oh, yeah. This is,
Oh yeah, this one fits.
yep. Okay.
We can't see what you're fiddling with.
Okay, I'm just loosening this up and advancing the cutter forward
Oh,
so
okay.
I have
Got it.
more room to put it in front of the tool rest before it hits the drill center. Whereas before it was hitting the tool rest. Now we're going to come in here, oh, about there. First one's always easy. It's all the others that you try to make the same depth and cut. Now, what I want to do, I want to move this back. Now I'm going to, if I don't want it extended that far out, I want to just drop it back a little bit, back to where it was. Now we're going to put in the drill wizard. I don't know, can you see what I'm doing? I'm going to put this
Yes.
in the drill. And I want to tighten it up. Now we need to find an electrode outlet.
Here. Mark right here.
Right there, huh?
Sit on top, up there. The power strip.
Oh. Looking in the wrong place. Yes, I see it. So now it comes that the hardest part of the whole thing. Getting this silly thing lined up. Because you want it
Matt. Hey, Matt, we'd probably
square
see
and
better
perpendicular.
with the overhead.
Okay. Let me get this out of the way first.
Possibly.
Whoops.
Yeah, do the overhead and then the tailstock view in the corner. Attaboy. Good job.
All part of the service, team.
Teamwork.
So now you just have to fiddle with this. It's easy to make the cuts. The hardest part is getting it set up. Because it's touching here, not touching there. And you have to adjust this banjo so that they're equal distance all the way along. Yeah, this is the the part where you need to have patience. And I have learned that after raising 8 children and have found how to be patient. Close.
Your one-way drill wizard hasn't had any modifications, has it, Mark?
Pardon me?
Your one-way drill wizard has not had any modifications.
Nope. This is exactly the way I bought it. And this is just an old drill that I went to a secondhand tool store to buy. I just needed one to fit the size here. But no, there's nothing that's been tweaked or modified. It's strictly stock. Okay, I think we're good. Lock it down. Lock it down.
Oh, I bumped this camera here with your face mask.
Can you see it? Can they see this?
Yeah, the right-hand screen and the overhead view.
All right.
Yeah,
So
we
I can
we can
switch
see
it.
it, Mark.
I can
You're
take
good.
this off and switch it over to here and zoom it in.
Do we want to bring this over so that's
We can try that. Hang on.
because they're I don't think they're seeing the cutter.
I can't extend it out further, but we can bring it over like this.
Or you can't spin it.
It won't come further this way.
Oh, okay.
So that's what we've got. So, or I could go with this view here, which is here, but it's being blocked by this.
Well,
Right.
It is what
So-
it is.
we
that-
can. Since
So
we're
that
indexing,
view will,
we could be cutting over here.
But okay, you want to try that?
I've never done that, but
Oh, I don't. My tool rest won't go that far over.
well, we have to. It'll flip around though.
You want to try that?
Sure.
All right. After all the
Tweaking,
we're gonna make an adjustment for this so you can see what we're doing.
which way is this thing turned now? All right. So now they should be able to see this, yes? Or no?
I'll only do this. Am I in your way?
No?
Okay.
Okay. So I want this. Okay, that's about where I want it to cut. There.
That's gonna make a pretty big circle, right?
Oh yeah, it's gonna make a 2.5-inch circle.
Okay. Now, do you want to index? You want to start the indexer and get that get going?
Well, I gotta get it adjusted first again.
Do you want to fix the plate? So
Sure. And we're using a non-standard plate here. So let's go in, we'll just do that one right there.
okay, so lock it here.
And then we can just do that.
Yeah, you just
Every
pull the pin
two.
out.
Okay.
All right. Good to go.
All right,
Okay.
so do they need to see this?
No,
Okay.
you guys know how index plates work. Yeah, Billy, I'll get right on it with another half dozen cameras.
Okay.
All right, let me pull this over here. All right, that's a good view there.
All right. So what I'm going to be doing is with one hand, I'm going to be turning the drill on. The other hand, I'm going to advance it forward. That's
Yeah,
about
look
as
at
far as
that.
it's going. And now what we're going to do, we're going to advance it because this is a 48-inch index, and it's got 48 indexes. I only want to use 24. So now I've advanced it 2. We're in there for,
Did you not push it in far enough?
I guess not. So I started at 2, then we went. So it's further engaged.
Get in the hole. Okay, do it there.
It's nothing but a scratch.
Yeah, we can fix it.
Yeah, yeah, it's topical.
It's- Shouldn't be warped like that. And we'll get this figured out, folks.
Just trying to get the camera angles, best for the viewing pleasure for everybody. That's all. So just
That's
bear with us.
true.
All right, let's go with that, Mark.
All right.
That's hard to. Oh, it's still, is it in? Oh, okay, okay.
Okay, so
All right, with the handy dandy camera.
you
Camera boom on.
started 2. Okay. Is this where we started?
Yes.
Then we went to here. So now we need, because we were lined up in the wrong one. Now we need to go to there.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'm going to do 2 more. Two more. You make your cut, advance to the next index position, make your next cut. Yeah. What's going on here? So you can see that there's a lot of vibration and instability in here that I didn't experience on my robust, but I don't know if that's this setup or if it's this cutter that is dull or something.
It's tearing things up before there's a lot of vibration before it even starts to kind of tight. You should go right in, right? You would think so. It's taking that loose. It's taking that loose. I don't know how to switch with me, and I'll hold it.
All right.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna try this again, folks. It doesn't look like it's squared up anymore.
You slide your camera around?
I can't because I'm holding the pin in the indexer.
You can't
Oh,
what?
okay.
He asked me if I
Got
could
it.
slide the camera.
Which way do we need to slide the cane?
He wanted me to do this with it. It can't move. There's a bunch of crap in the way. So yeah.
No, it's okay. No, it's
Just move,
go.
because I gotta readjust this thing.
There you go. Oh, just to the right.
Now here, It's almost touching. Here it isn't. You get the idea, folks. And then we'll put another groove in here and then make a very small bowl.
So how much more do you want to show? What do you want to do?
How much more would you like, did you get the idea here? Or do you want me to
Yeah,
try to
Do a couple more.
do a couple more?
Okay.
What moved? Something moved. Oh, this moved. That's what it was.
How did that move? Is it
Apparently, I didn't have it torqued down enough.
on the tool rest? Okay.
And the tool, yeah, the banjo is locked, but apparently I didn't have this locked.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So, which way do you think it is? Pull it up or down? Because this is backwards the way it normally is. Yeah, okay. It's tight now.
Yeah.
Let's try this. Ooh, it moved it again. Oh, you know what it is? It's here. It's not moving here.
It's moving there.
It's moving there. So what is there?
I don't know.
There's a bolt here.
All right, so there's a little bolt underneath here that isn't tight as tight as we need it to be.
Correct.
You don't know what size it is, do you?
Well, this came from Canada, so could be like a 12 millimeter. I don't know. Me and figuring that out I'm not the greatest. I sit at a desk and push buttons on a computer, not play with wrenches.
This is 19 and 17. That too big, too small?
17 is just a little too big.
Let's see what I got here. 15 and 16.
Okay. Why is 16? Oh, because it's moving that much. Oh, my goodness.
Is this tight here?
I think so.
Okay.
But this needs to be. Oh, look at how loose that was.
Wow.
So,
Yes, you did. Yes, you have to readjust them. Okay. Going in the groove.
here, let's go to another hole.
Okay.
So we got clean wood.
There we go.
All right, let me slip it in. Let me go hold it.
I don't think that's the problem. I think this is the problem.
Make sure it doesn't come out.
Yeah.
You good?
And all right. Let's see what happens. It's off.
You want to move this? Quickly down. Or not, okay. Note to self, make sure it's everything tight before you start.
Exactly. Okay, now just moved. Okay, I think you got it. All right, let's go to the next one.
Keep wanting to look around that cable.
Yeah, it's in the way. Let me adjust the camera over here. It's got too close. Yeah.
It means we get two more. Oh, you almost had it. You almost had it.
Well,
Go
I
right
could do
between
this
the,
all day,
go right,
but
no,
then some.
go between the drill handle and the cable with the camera.
And there's no way. There's some logistics issues here.
There you go. Right there.
All right,
Right
let's try
there.
that, Mark.
Perfect.
Perfect.
There we go. Look at that.
It's a learning experience for everybody.
Now it's working perfect. Thanks, Matt. You moved that camera and you got rid of the demoitis.
So I'm holding the camera in the position with one hand and holding the plate with the other hand.
Yeah, and I'm using both
Just
of
keep
mine to move.
just keep doing that, Matt. You're doing a good job. There we go. Now we can see what's going on.
Because these circles are bigger, that it's exerting much more pressure on the wood.
Could very well be.
Yeah.
Yeah, because these are the biggest circles that I've made thus far.
We're trying it out for the
Yeah.
first time, but
There you can see the torque affecting it.
Well, I've tried this on people MDF at home, but that doesn't have any resistance at all. It cut fine, but between the grain of this wood and I don't know if this thing's getting dull. Who knows? But we're having fun. Nothing else.
Sure are.
it's
It's
It's making a
entertaining.
great evening. You guys are doing excellent.
It doesn't take very long once you get everything set up and
when you go up and clean these up at all afterwards,
I'm gonna have to, yes.
Okay.
On my Merlin 2, in the Nick Agar, accessory pack, there's a couple of those, it's what Steve Komowski said was he used for cleaning off, used for cleaning off the gaskets on, the head gaskets.
Bristle brushes or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's like a bristle brush.
Yeah.
That works real good. Yeah, with me.
Is it loose again?
I think this drill, look at this.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of play.
A lot of play in it. That's what you get for buying used tools. Cheap used tools. Not the prettiest thing, but you can see the process. Well, I think we're done, folks. Since this thing just smoothed on me,
Yeah, it did.
and I can't,
Wow.
I'd have to play around with it.
A lot of tool issues tonight.
Yes.
No, that's fine. I think everybody definitely got the hint on how it's done and how the one-way drill wizard works and using the hole cutter to be able to embellish a surface like that. That's a really neat and intriguing concept. And I'm sure there's going to be multiple people in here that are going to try and find a way to make a jig without having to get a drill wizard.
You may very well be right.
Right?
I already
Yeah, I don't
have
remember.
mine. It's called a laser.
Yeah. And finish the bowl.
I don't care. We can.
What would you like to see?
How would you color it? Go ahead. Go ahead, Mark. If you feel like it, hook it up.
Oh, McGilla Gorilla here. Really tighten that thing down. So I need to take that out of
Out of the drill.
the drill.
No.
Hey, your
Well,
bandwidth is now
safety shield.
increased. That's great.
Yeah, and we're gonna take this. We're done with this, right?
Yeah, we're done with that. We definitely want to disengage that.
Yes. And the lathe,
Right,
the
break
lathe
the
won't
heck out of
go.
Putting in the second groove. Right about there. I don't think it's the cutter. I think it was the drill and this thing or something. I don't know.
Huh, the cutter seems to be working fine.
That seems to be working good.
Well, we knew it was, we found out that it was loose at the beginning, so.
Let's go back to the ball gouge. Here's the height up. Put it back to on center. So I want to start my bowl about the same distance, as we've got here. So I presented the tool perpendicular, so that I started cutting in on the tip. Once I got the ridge, I then opened up the flute so that as I get towards the center, I want to slow the speed down.
Hmm.
So if I would have been doing the coloring, I would have colored all of this before I took this out. But since I'm not going to be coloring, so I started out this, yesterday spraying this with my airbrush, and it wasn't getting it covered enough, quick enough for my taste. So I switched to, I took a piece of paper towel, took the spirit stain, dropped it on there, and then just wiped it all over, got it nice and tight. So if you had a airbrush, you could use a paintbrush and put it in, or you could also use paper towel and fold it up. You could use a piece of paper towel, fold it up, and coming in here and hand doing each one of these. So you can do the same thing. You don't need an airbrush. You can do it with that would, you can cover all of the grooves and everything. So that's pretty much what I intended to do. It just, because of the looseness of that one bolt and the wobble, it doesn't look as good. Well, it looks pretty good right in here.
Yeah, after we get everything tight, it looks great.
Right?
And
Yeah,
I would work a little bit more on this bowl because it's got a little hump right there in the center. But that's the extent of it.
Well, that's a very intriguing concept, and like I was saying earlier, I know there's going to be people that are going to be trying this out. I'm going to try it out eventually. This is going to be an embellishing technique that I'm going to store in my back door for um, future use. I've
Yeah, I
got
thought
hole
about this
cutters.
for a while before I actually
Yeah,
I
got
buy
definitely.
cheap.
And
I buy the cheap hole cutters to use for metal working for blade making, and so I've got those on hand. Never thought about trying to stick it in an apparatus to do what you're doing here. It's pretty neat, Mark.
and definitely an interesting technique.
Right?
Yeah, lots of possibilities. You could
Oh,
change
yeah.
the
For
size
sure.
of the circle. You could do 2 circles
Right?
at each index.
Yep.
So,
I had a question. We had a question on your bowl gouge again. I know you talked about it at the beginning, but could you talk about your bowl gouge again, Mark?
Sure.
I'm gonna go to the overhead camera.
All right.
You can see it on the right-hand side there is where we are.
So this is I bought this from Lyle Jamison off his website, and it's it's a 5/8 inch bowl gouge with a parabolic flute, so that when you grind or the fingernail grind, because it's it's not a V or it's not a U, you still get a little bit of a crest that doesn't dip in, so it makes very predictable. And with this one tool, I've done this whole platter. I can do a bowl. I can do with this. It works great. It's made by Doug Thompson. It's patterned off of the David Ellsworth bowl gouge because Lyle, in the beginning of his career, he went and took classes with David, and so he just had uh, Doug Thompson make these for him. You can't buy these off of Doug Thompson's website, but you can off of Lyle Jamison's website.
Right.
Lyle's and what I do is on mine, I have relieved the back, the foot of my bowl gouge, and I, just freehand ground it off so that my bevel is only about 1/8 of an inch. So that when I'm going
Okay.
around the inside of the bowls or the platters, I'm not bruising the wood because I'm only floating the bevel is only like a 16th of an inch. So there's not any metal there to bruise the inside of your bowl.
Right.
So you don't have
Right.
to sand forever to try to get those bruise marks out.
Okay. And then you had like for lack of a better term, like a story stick with the various designs and the colors on it. Could you show that again and speak to it
Let's see
again?
your art piece.
Oh, that's not a story stick. That's our club is doing a doing an art show at the Starkweather Gallery, and this is my submission to for that. So
Okay.
here, panels, I'd use I this one is there's 6 centers back here, and I turned the grooves and then sprayed each one as I went. I mounted it on MDF, piece of MDF with by hot gluing these 2 pieces together. Were touching, and then I cut the groove. Then I used the heat gun and warmed up the hot glue to pull it off, flipped it around. So I then took these 2 corners and brought them together and turned these grooves. Then I took another piece of MDF and I hot glued this portion onto it. And then I moved my my faceplate to to these positions, create these because I did leather work for a while. I had a bunch of leather working tools, so I then flattened this out, used the leather working tools, with a hammer and beat them in here. Used my point tool to make the grooves. Then I sprayed it black, and then I used the Chroma Craft Viking and this one over here, which you can't see. And then for this gold, that's rub and buff gold. Then I use my big, did I use the big one? I think I used my bigger full-size Sorby texturing tool to do this spiral. And then then I sprayed it all green, and then I put on liming wax to get it in all the grooves, and then buffed it off. Then on this side, their knurling tool to create this texture. Sprayed it black, I think, and then I used Egyptian gold, the Chromacraft Egyptian gold
It's like gilding paste.
gilding paste.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
And you put it on your fingers. I actually use a glove. You put it on your fingers, and then you just lightly go around a circle because you just want to get the tops of the marks. You don't want to get it down in the bottom of the grooves or the textures.
Yeah, in the textures, yeah.
And these here, my micromotor and the triangular Mampa tools, and then I put on chameleon flakes. So if you change the angle, it shows two different colors.
That's just a
And then over the whole
spectacular
thing,
piece.
I used Danish oil. And
So
then
is
my
there something
buddy,
special? Is there something special about that wood and how it's framed with the bark?
Well, it's an art piece, and the
Right,
wood we
right.
got from a tree that came from Starkweather, right?
uh-huh. And this
Okay,
is the
that's what I was
bark.
trying to get at. That's what I was
Yeah,
trying to get at. Yes.
this is the bark that was on these. So I cut it off, and another member of our club, Thomas Kaiser, he is much more adept at flat work than I am. So I took this over to his place, and but he made the frame.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, this was from a grandfather elm tree at the Starkweather Gallery, and it was like a, a staple in the community, a big old tree that everybody commented on, and it finally died, and so we got some of the wood to make stuff with for an art
That's
expedition.
great. That's what a
So
legacy for it.
yeah, it all came from that tree.
So
Outstanding.
we're having so the month of June they're going to be on display at the Starkweather Gallery and for sale. So it'll be interesting to see if anybody wants to buy it.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
Yes.
Yes.
Any other questions?
All right. Yes. Thank you, Matt. If there's any other questions, now's the time to ask them, folks.
Hey, Dane, there was a question earlier about setup of that one-way jig. If he could show
Oh,
how
yes.
that
Yes.
was.
Would you, Mark, would you be able to show how you set the one-way whizzer up?
Here, I can try. So this is the jig itself, and it's just got a hand drill held in there. It goes in a tool post and advancing mechanism, this lever. You just put it in and you line it up so that it's at center height and also so that it is perpendicular to the face of the platter.
Okay.
Makes sense? Is there...
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like clear as mud.
Yeah, exactly.
What is it to,
Because if it's off, you're going to get one side that's deeper than the other, and you're going to get grooves that are thin on one side and thick on the other, or thick on one side and not at all on the other. If that's what you
Right.
want, you can do that.
Sure.
Hey,
But I was
Mark,
trying to get the full circle
Mark,
time
Do-
around.
on that setup there, what stops you from pushing it forward? Is there a set screw or something to keep you from going
Nothing.
too deep? Like on a drill press, you have a depth gauge.
There is not one on this.
Okay,
Earth-
thank
Is
you.
it not controlled with that lever though?
Yeah, well,
That red hand for engaging it?
I think this does move, and I think I could have adjusted stops here, but I
Okay.
didn't. But talking,
Right.
with that question, there is, if I move this back, I now can advance it more farther forward. So there was a stop, I just wasn't using it. So
Okay.
I think in the future,
Show the stop again because they couldn't see it.
okay, can you see?
Let me do this
Yes.
like that.
Bottom
See
left
this?
corner.
There's
There you
there's
go.
a stop right here. It was
Right.
there. See now I back it off some more. And if I
There's the
had have
stop.
thought about it, there is a mechanical stop, and it would have been nice to have engaged because yes, I was trying to control this by looking at it.
And eyeballing it.
There is one there in my
Okay.
naivete, lack of
Okay.
experience.
All
No
right,
I didn't
worries.
use it.
And then do you use a square to set the tool rest yoke, or is that not important for the
He was
for the
eyeballing it
wizard
the
to be
whole
set
time.
up square?
In my pants and eyeballing it and winging it.
Okay,
I
right on.
I I'm not a machinist. I'm a computer programmer analyst. So I just sort of I figured out a way to do it and I did it, but it definitely not the best way, but it is a way. But yes, I
you did a
agree.
great job, man. Very, very nice. Appreciate the demo.
You're welcome.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I said, this is how we learn, everybody. Um,
Absolutely.
without a doubt. I just got to say, thank you very much, Mark, for doing this. Thanks for traveling over to see Matt and bringing your equipment there to get set up and and putting this demo on for us. We all greatly appreciate it, and definitely want to bring you back and have you do something else again later on.
Yeah, if you're going to be
Very
at
nice.
SWAT
Thank you.
this year, I'll be demonstrating down there how to
Outstanding.
do.
I'm not going to be there, but there will be about 50 other people from the club down there.
I'm going to be there. What are you demonstrating?
I'm demonstrating how to make this, how to use your lathe as a
Oh,
spirograph.
cool. Yeah.
So I'm giving 2 demonstrations at SWAT this year.
Cool.
That's great. That's great. Mark Wallace will be at SWAT last weekend of August.
Yeah,
Cool.
when it's really hot down there, from what I understand.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes it's not too bad. Sometimes it can
It's
get a
only
little
outside. It's
toasty.
only
They have air
outside,
conditioning.
or when the AC goes out or the power goes out, right, Tim and Billy?
That ain't so bad. Most
Yeah,
of
it's
the
a
Hold
wet
time.
it
heat.
like, why don't you
It's a
hold it
wet
like
heat.
second week in January? More of us from the north would come down.
Uh, all right.
Okie
Well,
dokie.
with that, does anybody else have any other questions? Okay, with that, on behalf of Worldwide Woodturners, once again, Mark, I really appreciate you doing this.